Hi, this is Jesse Cranio again, coming to you for one more episode of Desperate Teachers, with recipes, relief and support for developing and tired teachers. In this podcast, we look at how teachers can improve and further their teaching, while making teaching more successful for teachers and students. This podcast is for English teachers and teachers at large everywhere, whatever you may be teaching or contemplating to teach. Desperate Teachers is helping teachers teach, because teachers have questions too. This material is copyright on all known supports and all supports to come. Today, we look at teaching with other printed and audio material. Teaching with the news. Teaching with the news is opening doors to the world, and the whole world is a stage, and one step closer to a better command of English. Teaching with the news should be approached with the greatest care. There is a common belief that all material in English should be good to the learner, which proves to be true when applied in the proper fashion. If you're just listening to the news and maybe even talking about it, you're not teaching. The press in English uses a great number of abbreviations, metaphors and journalese, which in turn may vary from one support to another. That is to say, it is not easily accessible to all readers and learners, especially not those in the lower levels. Reading the press presupposes an extensive range of vocabulary and culture in the language, which, for the lack of it, the teachers will have to fill in for. A rather time-consuming exercise in a limited course. Still, the press makes for good material in the appropriate course and level. The teacher should make sure the students start off with the easier and shorter articles and take it to progress from there. The vocabulary and the grammar are to be taken into consideration as applies, and the subject must be integrated into the course with a proper introduction and connection. Teaching with the news is excellent if the teacher is teaching journalists or people who have reached an intermediate level at the least and are aware or made aware of the context of the topic. Teaching with the Internet. The Internet today offers way more than a wealth of teaching treasures. Sadly, a lot of sites dedicated to learning and teaching lack originality and tend to repeat and reproduce old wives' tales about teaching and learning when they run long enough, since most of them die out after a couple of weeks and thus end up generating disinterest where they should stir interest. However, there is safety in numbers, and the plethora of material guarantees you're bound to find something to your liking and or your needs there somewhere, more than enough to cover anyone's needs. There are many ways the Internet can come into play in a language course. Reading material is the first one, but of course one may also take part in many ways. Social networks, etc., create interest groups or pages on Facebook, for instance. Blogs and websites will give students an opening to reading comprehension as well as written expression. There is a great number of sites where people can exchange ideas and give opinions. Skype, chats and news groups will top it all up with listening comprehension and oral comprehension, round it all up with the 4 language skills. Company websites will keep you posted on the latest development while they provide topical information. Any opportunity is a good opportunity when used properly. And the Internet offers material that caters for all tastes and levels. Teaching with podcasts. Today we find more and more podcasts on the Internet, made readily available free of charge for the discerning teacher and student. Those podcasts are like mini radio and video broadcasts, which anyone can download in a matter of minutes for the longest. Most of them so far have been produced by Americans and so are in English, if in American English. They too offer a wealth of material, from which quite a few are dedicated to teaching and training in English. I usually recommend my students to use iTunes, PC versions, free download, which enables many options for language study and development. The podcast can be downloaded and even saved onto a disk or synced to other computers via iTunes. I suggest you start by trying these. Better Speaking Skills, Business English Podcast, English as a Second Language Podcast, Grammar Challenge, Listen to English, Splendid Speaking, English in the Real World, Time, ABC, BBC, CNN, to mention but a few. There are indeed hundreds and thousands more to choose from, depending on your needs and interests, and I will add my podcast dedicated to teachers, desperate teachers. The podcasts above offer learning, revision, consolidation, and extension at all levels. You can either further your command of the language and go in for English for special purposes. Good luck! Teaching with audio recordings. Audio recordings and laboratory work are an unmissable part of any language teaching, which must in no case be overlooked. All teaching books and material have to be carefully chosen, bearing in mind the importance of the precious support. The audio files must be of optimal teaching quality, well recorded indeed, but then also guaranteeing quality alongside to progress right up through the course. The same goes as for books. I always make sure all my students have their own copy of all the audio files, so as to work their listening skills and phonetics in between classes. Those files are existing files of one or several sources, or even files I record myself, which I edit and compile and remix to get the best out of the audio world. Laboratory work must be implemented and followed through. You'll find that the first session may not be as much fun as expected from many activities, but there is good news here. After the first lab work, ask the students to assess how much they understood on the first hearing, and now after the last, surprise, the result can span from 10 to 90% and over. What better motivation could you give your students? Be patient. It all takes a little time, and before long you'll find them literally transformed. And if your students follow the in-between lessons instructions, they'll just take off and rocket to the sky. For more on teaching, check my book, The Comprehensive Teacher, also an audiobook by Maxine Lennon. Remember, always keep calm and speak English. Nobody will get hurt. All my audiobooks, ebooks and books are for sale on Amazon, Fnac, Kobo, iTunes, and may be listened to or read on most smartphones, tablets, and computers. I regularly offer training and coaching sessions and workshops to professionals and individuals. My services include training and coaching for teachers and trainers, in-company training, languages and communication, writers and authors, the media. I also translate from French into Italian and from French into English and back. I train and coach on teaching and training in teaching in English, French, Italian and Spanish. And for further questions and more information, contact me at jesse.cranu@yahoo.fr. That is Jesse, Jesse, .cranu, CRAIGNOU @yahoo.fr. I will do my very best to answer new questions and take suggestions. See you in our next podcast.